Thank you for joining me for the 2024 M-STEP Test Administration Part 1 presentation for the MME and High School Test Administration Training Series. This presentation will discuss M-STEP Test Administration policies and tasks for grades 8 and 11. It is divided into 3 sections: before test administration, during the administration, and after test administration. This presentation will cover what's new for the spring 2024 administration, important resources to help you prepare, the systems used in the M-STEP administration, testing schedules, and preparing for administration. It ends with the discussion of how to get started with the actual administration of M-STEP. There are a number of activities that need to take place before M-STEP administration. This first chapter will discuss everything that needs to be done before testing begins. We will begin with what is new for M-STEP administration in 2024. Then I will share the resources that are available to you throughout the test administration. Next, there are several systems that are used in administering the M-STEP. These systems will be discussed so that you are aware of what tasks need to be done and which system to use. After that, I will share the M-STEP testing schedule and discuss the requirements of the M-STEP test schedule that each school and district must prepare. At the end of this Before Test Administration chapter, I will discuss how to prepare both students and staff for the M-STEP. Resources to use with students will be shared, as well as the trainings and resources that your staff will need. Next, we're going to review what's new in M-STEP test administration. Online test directions have been revised for brevity and clarity this year. Frequent feedback we have received has been that the directions are too long. In response to this feedback, we reviewed each directions screen to find opportunities to be more clear and shorter. First, you'll notice that the answering questions and navigation screens are revised for clarity and brevity. Also, the tools screens were determined to have limited value while taking up a significant amount of time and space during test directions. Instead, we added a note to the Helpful Hints screen that provides examples of tools that are available and directs students to use the Help screen for more information if necessary. For any schools that want to display the tools information, the Insight Tools posters are available on the M-STEP webpage for download and display in the testing room. To download the Insight Tools poster, go to www.michigan.gov/mstep and select MDE Approved Insight Tools poster in the Current Assessment Administration section. Anyone who is interested in reviewing the changes to the directions screen can view these changes by going to the Online Tools Trainings, or OTTs. You can view them by opening the Insight testing engine on your device and selecting Online Tools Training, or you can access them using the web link above in a Chrome browser. You can also find that link on the M-STEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/mstep. Under the Content Specific Information section, select Online Practice for M-STEP ELA, Math, Science, and Social Studies, and follow the directions. The use of TTS for directions is now required for all tests. Importantly, there are still a few items and screens that must be completed before TTS for directions begins, which will be discussed in the next slide. Test administrators are required to read the test administrator's directions and manual document for the grade or grades and content area or areas they will administer before administering a test. There are several steps and screens that must be completed before TTS for directions can begin. The directions for these steps are provided in the test administrator's directions and manual documents. First, test administrators must pass out student test tickets and provide direction regarding how to log into the test. Next, the welcome screen shows the student name, date of birth, and other identifying information to verify the student has logged into the correct test and has the correct information. If you are using the test monitoring application, students also input the test monitoring code on this page to register to the test session. After the welcome screen comes the test selection screen, where students select the correct test they are taking. This screen ensures the student has logged into the correct content area test. Finally, the audio check screen is completed together to verify students will hear the audio during the test. Directions are provided for each of these steps in the test administrator's directions and manual documents. These directions must be followed before students are able to begin TTS for directions. All test sessions must be set up in the DRC Insight portal. There is no longer an option to set up test sessions in the OEAA secure site. Students will be pulled into the DRC Insight portal in the same manner through pre-identification in the OEAA secure site. Then, once students are available in the DRC Insight portal, students can be assigned to test sessions. In this section, I will discuss some important resources that are available to you as you administer the M-STEP. First is the Assessment Coordinator Training Guide. This guide provides information that takes assessment coordinators through the tasks and responsibilities done before, during, and after the administration of all of Michigan's statewide summative assessments. This will help you with M-STEP as well as all other Michigan statewide assessments. If you are a new assessment coordinator, it is suggested that you progress through the entire training guide in the order presented. For returning assessment coordinators, this guide can be used as a refresher. You can use sections of this guide as you approach each task, or if you run into difficulty with any assessment administration task, you can use this document as reference material. While this training guide provides training for each task that must be done, it is not intended to replace the testing manuals, guides, and other test administration related resources that are provided. You can find this guide through the link at the top of all assessment pages. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide webpage also includes a link to bookmarks that you can download and save to your web browser for easy links to many assessment-related websites. Other important resources for you to review as you prepare for the Spring 2024 test administration are the Guide to State Assessments and the Assessment Integrity Guide. The Guide to State Assessments includes important detailed information about state assessments. The Assessment Integrity Guide provides information on the prevention and detection of testing irregularities, as well as guidance for follow-up and resolution of any identified testing irregularity. This ensures all procedures before, during, and after the test administration lead to student results that accurately reflect a valid and reliable measure of each student's unique and true educational knowledge, skills, and abilities. The Assessment Integrity Guide has been updated for Spring 2024 administration and should be reviewed for the updated testing policies. You can find these documents plus assessment security training by going to the M-STEP webpage. The link for the Assessment Security Module's registration is under the Assessment Training and Resources for Educators section. The M-STEP Test Administration Manual will be available in late January and includes detailed guidelines for before, during, and after the M-STEP test administration. The Test Administration Manual provides information about the test administration policies and procedures, as well as step-by-step information for each assessment task that needs to be done before, during, and after testing. Checklists are also provided in an appendix with links to each task to help you keep track of everything that needs to be done. You will also find test administration policies, including the scratch paper policy, calculator policy, and electronic device policy, information about supports and accommodations available for the M-STEP assessment, and the incident reporting table that includes potential test irregularities and their resolution for both paper pencil and online test administrations. The important dates for M-STEP Spring 2024 administration will be available on the M-STEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/mstep. Select the Important Dates tile at the top of the page, then select the Important Dates documents according to your needs and preferences. There is an Excel spreadsheet that includes the important dates for every statewide assessment administered by MDE. This way, users can filter the dates according to the assessments and assessment windows they will administer. For example, An assessment coordinator who is responsible for all middle and high school testing can filter on MSTEP, PSAT 8-9 for grade 8, PSAT 8-9 for grade 9, PSAT 10, SAT, and ACT. Instructions for how to filter the Excel spreadsheet are included on the second tab, which is highlighted in red. In addition to this spreadsheet, a Google Calendar is also available that includes important dates by assessment program. You can download the calendar and add it to your Google Calendar to display important dates for each assessment program you are responsible for. Test administrators are not required to read the Test Administration Manual, or TAM. Instead, all test administration information and policies that test administrators need to administer the MSTEP are included in this one document. The test administrator's directions and manual documents are still grade-specific and specific to test mode. There is a separate document for each grade by test mode. It is required that test administrators read this document prior to administering the test. Assessment security training is required. District and building assessment coordinators are required to complete the Michigan Virtual Assessment Security modules and to read the Assessment Security Appendix. The appendix is available in the Assessment Integrity Guide, Test Administration Manuals, and the Test Administrator Directions and Manual documents. For coordinators or administrators who have already completed the full assessment security modules, a refresher course is available in lieu of repeating the full course. The link to the assessment security training modules is available on the MSTEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/MSTEP under the Assessment Training and Resources for Educators section. Off-site testing is for schools who cannot test on-site at their school buildings. Off-site testing is used for virtual schools, schools that offer virtual instruction as their educational program. Off-site testing also occurs for individual students when a school is providing educational services to a homebound student, students who are suspended during the testing window, or students who are expelled with service. The off-site test administration request is found under the Assessment Registration tab in the OEAA Secure site. Select Off-site Test Administration Request. The window to submit off-site test administration requests is open January 3rd through May 16th, 2024. The OEAA has developed an electronic device policy for testing, which is available in the Assessment Integrity Guide and will be included in the MSTEP Test Administration Manual. Students are not permitted to access any non-testing electronic device during testing. All student electronic devices must be powered off and stored away from the student work area during testing. For students testing online, students cannot access the testing device for any purpose other than testing during the test session. This includes after a student has submitted a test. They must not use the testing device for any purpose while the test session is occurring. Staff must remain focused on the test administration during the entire test session. Cell phones should not be used or accessed unless there is an emergency that requires its use. Wearable technology is discouraged, but if worn, must be set to airplane mode. Test content can never be recorded or photographed for any purpose, and staff should not be engaged in any other work during test administration. There are several tasks to be done before MSTEP test administration that occur in the OEAA Secure site and for online testing in the DRC Insight portal. Here I will review these tasks. The OEAA Secure site is the assessment system used for many administration tasks, including pre-identifying students for testing, material ordering, reporting any testing irregularities that occur through the incident reporting tool, and after testing. You can access the downloadable student data files and reports through the Secure site. The off-site testing page and accountable students and test verification are also here. For access to the OEAA Secure site, go to www.michigan.gov/secure site training and select How do I get access to Secure site? The OEAA Secure Site presentation of this MEE and high school test administration training provides detailed information about how to perform the test administration tasks done in the secure site. The DRC Insight Portal is DRC's test management software. Assessment coordinators will set up test sessions in the DRC Insight Portal. Student supports and accommodations need to be set up in the DRC Insight Portal. Test tickets and rosters are printed through the DRC Insight Portal. Test administrators can monitor testing during test sessions if it is set up, and assessment coordinators can monitor test completion in the DRC Insight Portal. There is a user guide available in the DRC Insight Portal that details the process for each of these tasks. It can be found in the DRC Insight Portal. Select the Here link in the Documents and Training bullet point, then select Documents, then Show Documents. All student tutorials, mini-modules, and the Test Administration Manual can be accessed in the DRC Insight Portal. Training materials and documents are available without secure access. Users can access documentation without having a login credential. Technology coordinators, district assessment coordinators, and building assessment coordinators all require secure access to the DRC Insight Portal. Test administrators do not need access to the DRC Insight Portal unless they are using the test monitoring application. If any test administrator is using the test monitoring application, they need to be assigned to the public school online test administrator or non-public school online test administrator role in the OEAA secure site. Access to the DRC Insight Portal is assigned in the secure site. The district administrator needs to assign the role in the secure site, and then the user information is pulled from the secure site into the DRC Insight Portal. The new user then receives an email from the DRC Insight Portal with their username and password information. The Secure Site Training webpage provides training documents at www.michigan.gov/securesitetraining. You can view the How Do I Get Access to the DRC Insight Portal document for help gaining access to the DRC Insight Portal. You can use the Create a New User or Disabling and Changing User Access documents if you are a district coordinator who needs to assign user access in the DRC Insight Portal. Users can create and edit test sessions in the DRC Insight Portal starting on March 1st, 2024. When you are in the DRC Insight Portal main page, select Manage Test Sessions, which will bring up a window to select. Once you select Manage Test Sessions, you will be prompted to select the test administration and your entity information. At the bottom of the page, select the Add Session button to view this screen. This is also the screen to assign test monitoring to the test session. Choose None, Optional, or Required in the Test Monitoring field. This new field is highlighted on the image with a red box. Then choose True or False in the Restricted Access field. Restricted access can only be selected if test monitoring is set to Require. Use this setting if you want to require all students to enter the code in order to test. Only students who correctly enter the code will appear in the test administrator's test monitoring application screen. Detailed information about the test monitoring application is available in the DRC Insight Portal User Guide, the M-Step Test Administration Manual, and in the Test Monitoring Application mini-module that is available in the DRC Insight Portal. Mini-modules do not require secure credentials to access. Test tickets are printed from the test session screen in the DRC Insight Portal. Log into the DRC Insight Portal, select My Applications, then Test Management, and then go to Manage Test Sessions. Complete the test, entity information, content, and grade information, and select Show Sessions. This will open to show test sessions. From here, you can select a test session and print all tickets. You can also print tickets individually by selecting the test session, then choosing the Edit Print Ticket Status icon that is displayed to the right of the test session. Once you have opened the Edit Print Ticket Status page, you can select the individual student or students whose test tickets you are printing, and then select Print Selected. Online District and Building Assessment Coordinator trainings on the administrative functions in the DRC Insight portal will be held on February 28, 2024 at 10 a.m. with DRC. This training will also be posted in the DRC Insight portal after the initial presentation. To view them while in the DRC Insight portal, you will go to My Applications, then select General Information. From this view, select the Documents tab. These trainings will be included in this list. Look for information about accessing and registering for the training in the Spotlight newsletter closer to the event date. Next, we will review the M-STEP testing schedules. There is one 6-week window for online testing. Testing begins April 8th and continues through May 17th. Online testing is the same for all grades and content areas. Due to updates made to the Read by Grade 3 legislation, there is no longer a unique Grade 3 ELA online testing window. Paper pencil testing is one 4-week window from April 8th through May 3rd. Students can take the paper pencil test during any school day within that window. All of these schedules are also available in the Guide to State Assessments document, which is available on the M-STEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/mstep. These are the testing time estimates for 8th grade. For M-STEP, the time estimates for each test do not include time for reading directions, answering questions, or other classroom tasks. The PSAT 8-9 is a time test, while M-STEP is not a time test. The operational M-STEP science test is estimated to take 90 minutes to complete. The M-STEP social studies is estimated at 60 minutes. The PSAT 8-9 time estimate includes scheduled breaks and will take 2 hours and 35 minutes total. These are the testing time estimates for 11th grade. Again, for M-STEP, the time estimates for each test do not include time for reading directions, answering questions, or other classroom tasks. M-STEP is not a time test. The times provided are estimates to be used for scheduling purposes. The operational 11th grade M-STEP science test is estimated to take 90 minutes. The M-STEP social studies is estimated to require 45 minutes. Next, I will discuss how to prepare students and staff for testing. When preparing students, it is important to use the M-STEP student tutorials. During testing, students need to be aware of the tools that are available to them in the testing engine. The tutorials and online tools training, or OTT, provides students with this important information and practice so that when they are taking the M-STEP, they are thinking about the content and not the testing engine tools. To access these tutorials, go to the DRC Insight Portal webpage located at www.mi.drcdirect.com. You do not need a username or password to view the tutorials. Select the link in the second bullet point, Documents and Training Materials, on the sign-in page. Then select the Test Tutorials tab, and you can see all of the tutorials in one location. It is suggested that teachers review these tutorials in the classroom with all students and then provide students with the opportunity to practice using the OTTs. OTTs can only be accessed in a Chrome browser. The link to the OTTs is available on the M-STEP webpage under the Content-Specific Information section. The Assessment Integrity Guide provides detailed information regarding how to identify testing personnel. Test administrators can be selected from this list: licensed teachers or administrators employed by the district, paraprofessionals or non-licensed administrative personnel employed by the school or district who are trained in the test administration policies and procedures for the test being administered, can administer the test. Any substitute teachers who are employed by the district for the purpose of administering the test and who have been trained in the test administration policies and procedures for the test being administered can administer the test. Trained proctors may also be assigned to assist a test administrator. Test proctors are most typically a teacher's aide, paraprofessional, or another school or district staff member. A proctor must be supervised directly by a test administrator, must be trained with appropriate testing procedures, and may not independently administer any test. It is important that all staff involved in administering the test are trained in their responsibilities of providing an appropriate testing environment. This includes ensuring the testing room is quiet and orderly, and that seating is arranged in such a way that discourages any sharing of responses. Test administrators must ensure that any content-related poster or display is removed or covered. Posters of encouragement or classroom rules, such as those that say, "Do your best," are permitted. The Insight Tools poster is approved to be displayed during test administration. The poster is available on the MSTEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/MSTEP under the Current Assessment Administration section. Look for the link titled MDE Approved Insight Tools Poster. The link opens a page that details the guidelines for use of the poster, and the posters are available in 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17, and 16 by 24 sizes for printing and posting. This is the only Insight Tools poster that is allowed to be posted during testing, and posters must not be within reach of students during testing. It must be displayed in the classroom and cannot be placed at students' desks or computers. All word lists, maps, math formulas or tables, or any other content must be covered or removed. Test-taking tips or other materials that might provide students an advantage over others who do not have access to material are also prohibited and must be covered or removed. Buildings and districts must retain test schedules as described in the Assessment Integrity Guide. It is possible that a testing schedule may be requested by MDE staff, if relevant, when working to resolve an incident report. Test schedules must include the district and building name, the building assessment coordinator's name, the date of the assessment administration, the location of the testing session, starting and ending time of the test session, the test that was administered, and the names of the test administrators and proctors for the test session. The Assessment Integrity Guide provides a sample testing schedule in Appendix B. The sample includes all required components of the testing schedule. The Assessment Security Training Series is required for assessment coordinators. Test administrators must either complete the Assessment Security Training modules and/or read the Assessment Security Appendix. For coordinators or administrators who have already completed the full Assessment Security module course, a refresher course is available in place of the full training series. This training will be available in January on the MSTEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/MSTEP under the Assessment, Training, and Resources for Educators section. Next, we will move on to Chapter 2 of our MSTEP Test Administration Training. In this section of the presentation, I will discuss tasks that are to be done during the administration of the MSTEP. In this section, we will discuss how to get started with administration for both the online administration and paper-pencil administration. Part 2 of the MSTEP, MME, and high school test administration training will cover the tasks that need to be done during the test administration, common problems and what to do, and after testing tasks. The Supports and Accommodations Guidance document and Supports and Accommodations table should be reviewed and referenced throughout the test administration. It includes important information about allowable universal tools, designated supports, and accommodations. The Supports and Accommodations table in the guidance document provides information about the universal tools, designated supports, and accommodations that are available by content and grade. Be sure to view the Student Supports and Accommodations presentation of this MME and high school test administration training for more information about what is available for students during testing. Test sessions can be set up in the DRC Insight portal beginning on March 1st, 2024. It is important that pre-identification through the secure site is accurate so that all students who are expected to test are assigned to the appropriate testing sessions. It is also important to be sure students are put into test sessions that are required for their grade. The DRC Insight Portal has functionality that will help with tracking progress toward completion of testing, but the system is based on the students who are in the test session. It does not identify a student who is not assigned to the test session, but was expected to test according to accountability calculations. During the pre-ID process, it is important that students who are testing using MyAccess are pre-ID'd to MyAccess and removed from the M-STEP assessment. This will prevent students who take MyAccess from being pulled into the DRC Insight Portal and being assigned a test ticket, which may result in a student taking both the MyAccess and the M-STEP assessments. Double testing students is a test misadministration. Next, the appropriate designated supports and accommodations must be assigned in the DRC Insight Portal before test tickets are generated. Any embedded accommodation, that is, an accommodation that is administered within the testing engine, must be assigned in the DRC Insight Portal before the test ticket is generated. If it is assigned after the test tickets are generated, the accommodation will not be available on the test. For detailed directions on assigning designated supports and accommodations in the DRC Insight Portal, go to the DRC Insight Portal User Guide that is available on the DRC Insight Portal website. Select the link in the second bullet point, Documents and Training Materials, and then select Show Documents to search the documents. Once all students have been assigned to all of the appropriate test sessions, and designated supports and accommodations have been assigned, test tickets need to be printed, sorted according to your testing schedule, and distributed on test day to test administrators. Remember that test tickets and accommodating rosters are secure materials and must be handled securely. Once test administrators begin testing, test administration progress should be monitored and any issues that come up addressed. If there is a testing irregularity that requires submission to the MDE for resolution, authorized users can submit incident reports through the secure site. Incident reports are expected to be submitted within 2 school days of notification of a testing irregularity. I will discuss this process more when we get to the common problems and what to do section of this presentation. All direction in the test administrator's directions and manual are grade specific. It's important for test administrators to read the test directions before administering the test. Test administrators' directions and manuals for both the paper pencil and the online administrations are sent to schools and will be made available on the MSTEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/MSTEP. Test tickets and the accompanying rosters are secure material, so it is important these are collected to be securely destroyed or to be stored with secure test materials if the student has not completed the test and will resume testing in another test session. As a reminder, students may only have one test ticket at a time. Giving a student more than one test ticket is a security risk and does not allow for necessary breaks between tests to ensure students perform their best. Most designated supports and accommodations are printed on the test tickets. However, there may be other accommodations, such as extended time, that are not listed on the test ticket. Be sure test administrators are made aware of all accommodations for all students in their testing session. For the paper pencil administration, test sessions can be scheduled on any school day within the 4-week test window. It is still expected that test sessions start as early in the day as possible so students can complete a test on the same day they start taking it. Assessment coordinators must ensure that barcode labels are affixed to the student answer documents. Barcode labels are required in order to ensure the student's responses and hard work are associated with the correct student. Also, all secure testing materials must be maintained in a secure, locked location. Secure materials include test booklets, all used answer documents, any used scratch paper, and any reader scripts, translated versions of the test, or other accommodated form of the test. Again, testing irregularities should be monitored and addressed appropriately. If needed, authorized users submit incident reports through the secure site for MDE resolution or documentation. I will discuss this further in the common problems portion of this presentation. As with the online test directions, paper pencil test directions are grade specific. And again, it is important that test administrators read the test directions before administering the test. This is true even when a test administrator has administered the same M-STEP assessment in a previous year. It is important to refresh one's memory about the assessment before administering it. Answer documents must have the barcode label affixed in the space provided before administering the test. If additional barcode labels are needed for any reason, for example, a student has enrolled after the pre-ID for barcode labels deadline on February 15, 2024, they can be printed from the secure site. Go to Assessment Registration, select Barcode Labels, and complete the search criteria. Accommodations and designated supports, if provided, must also be completed on the answer document by a test administrator or building coordinator, and test booklets should be securely stored and given to the test administrators at the start of a testing session. Any scratch paper used during testing must be collected for shredding. Used scratch paper and used graph paper are secure materials. Students' names need to be written on scratch paper used so that if a break is taken, it can be returned to the correct student. Scratch paper must be blank. It can be either lined or unlined. Be sure that all test administrators are aware of the full M-STEP scratch paper policy before testing. The scratch paper policy is available on the M-STEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/MSTEP. These are some helpful links for you throughout the M-STEP test administration. Best Practices MSDS Reporting Guide for Trouble-Free Accountability Data. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide webpage, which includes a link to the bookmarks for Michigan State assessments. The new Assessment Coordinator Training Guide, the M-STEP webpage link, and Secure Site Training. Thank you for joining me for this presentation. If you have any questions, call OEAA at 877-560-8378 or send an email to mde-oeaa@michigan.gov. Be sure to join us for part 2 of this M-STEP training to learn about the tasks that need to be done during the test administration, common problems and what to do, and after testing tasks.